A very warm welcome to you, Pratibha ma'am.
Thank you.
First of all, a big round of applause as you join us in this podcast. And ma'am, I truly appreciate the incredible work that you're doing as a mentor for a lot of students. Seeing you holding multiple awards, years of experience, titles, certifications, it tells me how passionate you are, about your thing. So it's great. So today is a great opportunity for me to learn from you and have you as my mentor. So it feels amazing to have you on the podcast. Most welcome.
Thank you. And same goes for me. Learning come from you as well because you have been in the same
Yeah.
domain who has been doing a great work. And basically, this podcast thinks it's give a direct route wherein we can interact. You can learn from me, and I can learn from you. And definitely, learning is a loop. I always say it's never a one-way journey. It's always a loop. So it just
Right.
goes in round and
Right.
round and round. So thank you so much for inviting me on this podcast.
Right. Right. Exactly. And also, the objective is to gather unique perspectives, right? Like, ma'am, I can read 100 books on communication skills. I can watch 100 courses, but I can never have your perspective. And that's why this, podcast come into picture. So, Pratibha ma'am, as I told you, the topic of this podcast is communication skills. So we're going to discuss different aspects of communication, confidence building, some techniques to overcome nervousness. And my objective through this podcast is to create a 40-minute free training for students and working professionals to help them improve their speaking skills. So I have a list of questions with me, which I'm going to ask you one by one, and I want you to help us, giving the right perspective and the framework.
Yeah,
Does that sound good,
yeah,
ma'am?
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, perfect. And ma'am, also the reason why I'm obsessed with this one skill, communication skill, is because I strongly believe that your success depends on how you communicate. You can be the most knowledgeable student in the entire class. You can be the brilliant student. Your technical expertise can be 10 out of 10, but your ability to communicate is 2 out of 10. Then people might not consider you to be 10 out of
Yeah,
10.
definitely.
Right.
I absolutely agree.
Yeah.
I
And all
absolutely agree.
Yes. And also, you can have $1 million business idea, but if you don't know how to communicate its value and impact to the investor,
Definitely.
the idea might fail and never grow.
Yeah.
And also, ma'am, I have a very interesting story here which proves this. I want to share it with you. So, there is an entrepreneur named Jamie Siminoff, and he's an inventor and entrepreneur from Los Angeles.
Okay.
So he was just another guy working from his garage, trying to build something that mattered to him. And his idea was to build a Wi-Fi enabled video doorbell that let homeowners see and talk to visitors
Okay.
from their phones,
Okay.
and even when they were not at home. So the name of the company was Doorbot. And then Jamie appeared on season 5 of Shark Tank US. So he took that idea on Shark Tank and he asked for $700,000 for 10% equity. So valuing his company at $7 million. So he demonstrated that pitch. He explained all the technicalities, and he also shared that he had $1 million in sales already, which was impressive for a bootstrap product. Yet, every single individual in the room, every single shark rejected that deal. And the reason was simple. It was a communication challenge. Yeah, even though the product was strong, his message didn't land. He was too technical. He went into how it worked, the technicalities, but not enough into why people would care emotionally. So the potential of impact on the security, the massive market for smart homes, all of it was not communicated
Data
well.
was all
And he
great.
also yeah, exactly. And he also seemed to be desperate. At one point in time, in the pitch, he admitted he needed money badly. Now, this signaled risk. And that's when Jamie left without a deal, and the shark said, it is not investable right now. And right after, few days later, the show, when people saw that show on the national TV, people loved the idea. Even though the shark said no, millions of viewers saw that pitch. Then orders like began flooding in. Investor who saw the show reached out privately to back him, and then Jimmy rebranded his company Doorbot to company name Ring. He refined the product, improved the like design, and most importantly, he simplified his messaging. So he went from saying it's a Wi-Fi connected doorbell with remote video to saying rings help you protect your home and talk to anyone at your front door from anywhere. So same product but better communication and massive difference.
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
And in 2016, Richard Branson, who is the most wealthiest person on this planet, he invested in the Ring. And by 2018, Amazon acquired the company Ring for $1.2 billion. So Jamie became a billionaire and also one of the Shark Tank biggest missed opportunities as well. So that's how crucial
Yeah,
words are, and that's how communication
skills
skills
are,
is.
definitely. Yeah, the
Yeah.
story truly clearly shows, I would say, that it's not the knowledge who is going to take you forward, it's the communication which is going to take you forward. Yeah, definitely.
Exactly.
Great story.
In fact, for the longest time, I struggled a lot to communicate with others. But when I started working on on the communication skills, opportunities started to flow in, and I realized by improving this one skill can improve all the areas of your life,
Yeah.
whether it's business, career, networking.
Yeah,
And that's why I say your success depends on how you communicate.
definitely.
Uh, so, ma'am, as you know, communication skills have different aspects: articulation, fluency, speech delivery, presentation. But I would like to start this session by talking about the most important area of communication, and that is body language. So, when you meet a new person, so when there is an interaction with two people, whether it's a speaker, audience, or it's a student and an interviewer, what happens is even before you open your
mouth.
mouth, even before you say anything, your body has started communicating feelings and emotions with others. So people start like make building perception about you by just looking at how your body language is, how you keep your hands, what is your facial expression, how do you walk, how do you sit, how do you stand. And that's why I want you to tell us like uh, what are some techniques like for building a strong first impression, because studies tells that you like form a first impression in just 7 seconds of meeting someone, and also like 55% of the communication happens through your body. So tell us some techniques to create a strong first impression.
Okay. So see, first impression, we have always read it that first impression is the last impression, right? I have been knowing this, and I have been reading. My teachers used to tell me all of it, but we don't understand it until we experience it, right? That yeah, first impression. That when we say why he thinks about me like this, but we forget that what the first impression was. So I would say that for first impression, the foremost important thing which we I think majorly people, until and unless they reach a certain age or a certain experience, they understand dressing sense, right? I tell you, people till 24, 25, they don't consider it a thing that oh, dressing sense can be so much important. Because when I talk to children all my students, they are of this kind of category, though some are seniors as well, but majority are these. So they, whenever I just tell them, they always give a frowning face to me. Oh really? Because they think that okay, in wedding functions and all, dressing sense is important, but how come in corporate lives and job it is important? But yes, because ultimately what you are wearing speaks of what you are, right? So whatever you are wearing, it tells everything about you. That the person, when I talk of any interview, the interviewer frames the question the way you are looking, based on that, right? If you look and what you are wearing, it doesn't just include clothes, it's also include what you are wearing on your face. Means, are you carrying the confidence or are you carrying the nervousness? Because that's the dress you are wearing on your face. So it's along with the clothes, I would say. Second is your facial, what the face is telling. These are the two things. So if someone is a stranger or any new person, and I'm looking at someone and he's coming to me, the first thing I always see is his dressing sense and how his face expression is. So I think for the first good impression, these things should be top notch, right? And when you're talking about dressing sense, I say that other than clothes, the accessories also matter a lot. Everyone, for example, when you go in marriages or when you go in any meetings, you definitely observe what the person is wearing in his hands, male or a female. What if is his ears pierced or not, right? Is he having any tattoos? Is the tattoo visible or not? What kind of specs, the specs that he's wearing, what kind of lining is there, what is the frame, and everything you make a judgment about that. Okay, see, it is over, or it is under, it is unprofessional, it is not in sync with where he is standing, right? So I say, along with dressing sense is not just the clothing per se, but along with that it also includes the accessories, right? And then I would say another thing that makes an impression is how you engage with the person, right? There are people who, when they are talking, they feel that they are just talking, right? And there are some people with whom you interact, you feel a connection kind of thing, right? Maybe by either they are taking your names, either if you is the person is someone whom you have met before, so he talks about some previous conversation, because these are very unique things. If you are meeting someone whom you have met long before and you take that name of that person, it hits that person that, yeah, he remembers my name. And if you talk about any conversation we had so and so, so it again brings that bond back. The person gets engaged with you, that yeah, now he's definitely is a person who wants to communicate, right? So when you are engaging, you should look physically and mentally present in the conversation to make the impression. If you're looking somewhere else, you're talking, the person is standing in your front, you're looking at someone else, you're having phone in your hand, you're just scrolling it down, all of these things definitely create an impression that people don't expect, and people will try to make an excuse to avoid the conversation with you, because that doesn't no more looks interesting to them. So for me, first impression is dressing sense, is the what your face is wearing, and that, okay, how you are engaging with that person. And in first impression, I always say that when you end the conversation with that person, and if this is your first impression, first conversation, please, end should always be something which that person remembers. And I say handshake is one of it. Handshake should be done. I generally say that अगर आप initial वाला भूल गए हो, but do the last one, because it is remembered that, yeah, when you are going on it gives a shake to that person, right? And then give some closing remark or summarize the conversation, something of that positive that leads to the conversation to a positive end, right? So something of that sort, all of these things together for me, if you want to create a very good impression, please talk of these things in the context you are talking. So what you have to wear, you have to see, you're going to a wedding function, you're going to an interview, you're going to a meeting, where you're going. So for all these things, for me, are important.
Right. So we covered like three things, like dress sense, confidence, and how you engage with the other
Yeah.
person. So like you need to make the whole conversation memorable.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So, ma'am, you talked about it's really important what you're wearing on your face. So your facial expression is really important, and it should be genuine and natural, and that comes from confidence.
Yeah.
When you have a confidence,
Yeah.
when you believe in something, right?
Yeah.
So, ma'am, let's say if there is a student who is sitting in an interview. So let's say there is a student who has an interview like tomorrow. Tell us what are some like 3 to 4 things that he can do today to boost like his confidence.
Okay. So see, first of all, to boost up the things in for an interview, I would say practice is must, right? If you are saying that, yes, I have read the content, this is what the technical things the interview is about, and I have covered all of it, and you have not rehearsed, you have just read the theory, right? Then definitely you are going to face problem when you are actually answering those questions. So first of all, rehearse. If possible, do a mock. Please, if possible, do a mock, because mock tells you others perspective, right? For me, if someone asks me how you are prepared, I will always say, yeah, I am fully prepared, I'm confident, right? But I will know the reality only when someone sits who is not very informal to me, who is little formal to me, and he'll ask questions, and then how I perform, I'll ask that person, and he will give me an actual idea that okay, how you have been or how you have performed. So that thing one is mock. Another thing is that in interview, at least if you're going for an interview, going for a company, please research about that company, right? Sometimes we take interviews so casually that okay, I'm going for an audit based interview, it will be all about audit. No, it cannot be like that. You to the person, if I am the interviewer and I ask something about my company, and if you tell me, I say, yeah, he's genuinely interested, he has read about my company, right? So that shows what, that shows that yes, I am having a keen interest in that company, I've read about that company, who's the leadership, any great achievements so in company someone will say how much I should read. I don't know, reading the information can be very huge. No, you don't have to read everything. You just have to read some important, that what's the vision of the company, right? What's the leadership is saying, who's the leader there, who's leading, in what major verticals the company is engaged, right? And basically what has been the motto of, if there is any tagline, any brand, anything that defines that company, or if any recent achievements or awards the company has got, any excellence, anything of that sort. Only these things you need to know. At least you cannot have everything, you cannot do PhD. So that's one research about the company. Another thing I say that you prepare CV. You sometimes we take formats from someone, we put in things, and then we show, yeah, it's looking very great, कितना बढ़िया बढ़िया fancy चीजें मैंने लिखा है. The point वहाँ पे, what we need to do, the CV should be in and out for you. A person asks anything about the CV, you should be thorough. It should not look like अच्छा मैंने कहीं से लिखा तो था, ये भी लिखा था. So what does that shows? That yes, what you have written is not, maybe it's not your characteristic or feature. Because if I have written something of my own and someone asks me, I have natural answer to give. I need not to fabricate, or I need not to get astonished, or I need not to think for 50 seconds, 70 seconds, or 1 minute. I know, oh yeah, this is how or so and so and so. So whatever you're reading. So for example, hobbies is something in interview which is I say that out of all the information we have given, this is most questionable, hobbies, because everyone just do that. Okay, what hobby suits for this job profile? Accordingly, we write it. Okay, that's okay. Sometimes we can write it, but at least do some research around that, whatever hobby. So for example, if I write directly, I love reading books, definitely the person will ask, what's the last book you read, right? And he'll say, so what theme do you like in books? If you will not research, you will be blank there. Book, then you will look for, then you will talk about think अच्छा स्कूल में क्या पढ़ा था, and वो सारी फिर बुक्स याद आएंगी. So अगर आप ऐसी हॉबी लिख रहे हैं कि I love to travel, so you should have data about it ना, where you have traveled, कहाँ travel किया है, what places you explored. अगर वो data नहीं रहेगा, so what happens that if any of that kind of thing get catched, then the interviewer questions about everything what you have written. Now he has doubt about everything what you have written. Right. So this small thing can definitely create a question mark on the entire CV. That whatever experience, especially if I talk in terms of technical, so you might have written great experiences, this is what all I have learned. But if in other information he sense that may not be true, same he may apply to the experience as well, that you have written so great experience, and he might think of be that is it credible or not, or he has written like that as he has written hobbies. So please, whatever is your CV, do be what is written on the first to the last. Everything should be clear. The hobbies, your strengths, your weaknesses, your experiences in because these are the subjective things. Rest all are your academic, everything that is objective. Your name. So definitely that will be whatever it is. It's the fact. Rest all is subjective. So that thing you need to be clear about for a good interview. And what else I can think about? And prepare some basic things. For example, introduction. You know that okay, he's going to ask your introduction. At least some basic things you can prepare. So don't go that the interview will be completely uncertain. Yes, initially, because if you have been going to go interview, you might have read on Google and everything that what are the common questions asked in these kind of companies and everything. So at least जो common questions हो सकते हैं या जो introduction है, at least prepare that part कि हाँ कुछ तो लगे कि हाँ यार कुछ तो मैंने prepare किया हुआ है. And one last thing, another just last thing in terms of it, I would say that in interview, whatever you have written, strengths, weaknesses, because interview is personality test, Chinmay. Maybe you may not be able to answer all knowledgeable or technical questions. That's okay. They are not going to judge you on that. Because if you have reached there, maybe your credentials have been looked upon and then you have been called upon. So in interview, it's all your personality. So majorly, they don't look what you are answering. They look how you answer. This is what they are looking. And especially all the personal questions they are going to ask. This is their main focus is that. So especially if I talk about strengths, weaknesses, all of those things, please support them with an evidence. You just don't say, I am determined. I have good leadership qualities. Right. If you will just say that, that's a plain line. That's a plain line. So whenever you are saying, I have good leadership skills and I explored them when I did so and so things. So you tell them that, see, these are the skills and I have objectified, I have known them because I have done these things. You show that, okay, I am a determined person. How? Tell to them on what you were determined. What did you achieve? You were after something and you got it. So tell them about them, because if you will tell it now, they'll be closed. They will be closed on that particular thing that, yeah, he has performed on the whatever he has written.
Right.
So these are few things I would say that for an interview to be good, these things should be focused upon.
Right. Like perfectly explained, ma'am. Like you talked about how important is research.
Yeah.
And also I believe like it tells the interviewer how passionate you are about the job role. If you are doing a thorough research, it tells that you are passionate about your thing.
Definitely.
And also you talked about rehearsal and mock interviews.
Yeah.
And I believe that the best cure for nervousness is familiarity. Because mock interviews help you to build that familiarity with the situations.
Yeah, definitely.
And when you rehearse every single answer out loudly, you exactly know how your statement is landing out.
Yeah.
So you can tweak your question answers, and you can structure your answer again. That's how you know how you're how you are speaking.
Definitely.
Perfect. And also, ma'am, you mentioned about it is really important how do you mention your strength and weaknesses. So rather than saying I am good at marketing, give them the case study.
Yeah.
Right. So rather than saying I am a passionate digital marketer, say that I am a passionate digital marketer. For example, when I was in company XYZ, I helped them improve their engagement by 30%.
Definitely.
Right. So give them specific data that will help you to establish yourself as a credible person in the interview.
Yes.
Right. Perfect. So, ma'am, we were talking about body language. Right. So, ma'am, tell us what are some common mistakes you see students are making when it comes to body language, when it comes to hand gesture, when it comes to expressing yourself through facial expressions. So tell us some mistakes how to fix them.
I think the biggest mistake about body language is that we don't acknowledge it first. I think that's the biggest mistake, that we as a person, be it professional setup or be in personal setup, we don't acknowledge it, that it is having so much significance, right? Because you can see how you can observe it. For example, during your college and everything, everyone is running after marks, right? Everyone is about that, I need to get great cutoffs, I need to, even if, and there are people, and majorly you see, generally the toppers are those who are silent in the class, right? That's my observation has been, that there are people who sit in corners, they come, they study, they communicate minimum, they go back, and they are the one who get on the top of the cutoff list, right? So I think the biggest mistake is that we don't realize how important it is going to be when you move in the ladder of leadership or your professional career. Because if in terms of communication and body languages, they become more important as you step forward, as you move above in the ladder. Initially, I always say that yes, the gate pass can be your credential, your academic credential, so it can just take you to the door of the company. But beyond that door, it's your communication and it's your body language, it's your confidence that will take you from that door to other doors, right? So initially you might get into the company because you got great marks, but where you are standing and where someone else who got an average marks but had a great communicator, where he stands in 5 years, you need to compare that, right? And that's why we often hear sometimes in our societies or nearby people, अरे इसके तो नंबर भी इतने अच्छे नहीं आए थे, ये कैसे वहाँ पहुँच गया? We get to know certain stories sometimes, right?
Yes, definitely.
कि अरे ये तो एवरेज सा था, ये तो पढ़ता भी नहीं था, भर दिन खेलता रहता था, आज देखो कहाँ पे पहुँच गया. बिकॉज वो जो उसके जो उस सक्सेस या उस लैडर तक, जैसे एज यू सेड दैट इट इज़ द टूल फॉर सक्सेस, तो वो जो वहाँ पहुँच गया है, बिकॉज इट्स नॉट द टेक्निकल जो आपको वहाँ लेके जाता है. टेक्निकल तो आपको दरवाजे तक तो चला गया जैसे तैसे करके, 60% 70% लेके, किससे बात करके, रेफरेंस करके वो चला गया दरवाजे तक. उसके बाद जो उसका स्किल था, उसने उसको एक्सप्लोर किया एंड ही शोड इट टू द वर्ल्ड, एंड दैट्स व्हाई ही इज़ देयर जहाँ पे वो है. सो पहली मिस्टेक है कि हमें एक्सेप्ट करना पड़ेगा कि भाई बॉडी लैंग्वेज कुछ है जो रोल प्ले करती है. सेकंड, जो अगर मैं टेक्निकलिटी में जाऊँ बॉडी लैंग्वेजेस के, तो एक मुझे लगता है कि हम पोस्चर पे कभी इतना ध्यान नहीं देते. I also see when I go in classes और कभी मीटिंग्स वगैरह में जाते हैं, there are very few people who are consciously and properly sitting. बहुत रेयर ऐसा होता है. Out of 10 you will find 2 people who are formally sitting. रेस्ट मेजरली आइदर दे आर लाइंग ऑन देयर बैक, या फिर वो बिल्कुल काउच करके बैठे हुए हैं, या फिर वो पेन घुमा रहे हैं, या फिर वो फ़ोन चला रहे हैं. कुछ ना कुछ ऐसी एक्टिविटी में वो एंगेज्ड हैं जो डायरेक्ट एक हिंट दे रहा है कि द पर्सन इज़ नॉट इंटरेस्टेड, ही इज़ नॉट हियर, ही इज़ जस्ट हियर बिकॉज मे बी मैंडेटरी होगा इसीलिए, दैट्स वाई. अदरवाइज द पर्सन हु इज सिंसियरली सिटिंग, वो कुछ ही लोग होते हैं ऐसे, एंड यू इवन आइडेंटिफाई देम इन द क्राउड एज वेल. वो लोग अलग से दिख भी जाते हैं. किसी भी मीटिंग में जाते हैं आप, किसी भी क्लासरूम में जाते हैं, वो एक और जो 2 बच्चे होते हैं ना, वो आराम से आइडेंटिफाई हो जाते हैं. क्यों? क्योंकि उनका बॉडी लैंग्वेज, बंदा जब स्टेज पे खड़ा है तो क्लियरली दिखता है कौन कैसे बैठा हुआ है. तो आई थिंक जो मिस्टेक है, एक तो बॉडी पोस्चर की, उनको लगता है कि अच्छा अभी तो स्टार्ट नहीं हुआ है कॉन्वर्सेशन, कैसे ही बैठ सकते हैं. जब उनको लगेगा अच्छा मीटिंग जब स्टार्ट होगी तब हमें ऐसे बैठना है पेन और नोटबुक लेके, तब तक हम कुछ भी कर सकते हैं, राइट? सो दैट इज़ वन थिंग, बॉडी पोस्चर. उसके बाद जो है आई वुड से फिजिटिंग, जो हम जैसे कि वो जो अनकॉन्शियसली होती है, मुझे लगता है, जो मतलब हमें पता नहीं होता बिकॉज कभी हमने फीडबैक नहीं लिया या कभी हमने पर्सनली ऑब्जर्व नहीं किया, मे बी. जैसे कि हम बालों में हाथ करना या टाई को बार बार वो करना, उसके बाद या फिर पेन को टिक टिक करना, लेग को टैप करना, और ये सबकॉन्शियसली होता है, ये ऑटोमेटिक हो रहा है, मुझे नहीं पता कि मैं ये कर रहा हूँ, राइट? वो मुझे कैसे पता चलेगा जब मैंने किसी से फीडबैक ही नहीं लिया. उसके बाद ना मैंने कभी देखा है कि भाई ठीक है कोई वीडियो कैमरा में कभी रिकॉर्ड किया हो अपना कॉन्वर्सेशन या अपना कोई रिहर्सल या अपना कोई पब्लिक स्पीकिंग का थिंग, जिससे मुझे पता चले कि मैं कैसे परफॉर्म करता हूँ। तो एक ये भी चीज़ होती है जो सबकॉन्शियसली हम कर रहे होते हैं, राइट। तो दीज आर द सम कॉमन बॉडी लैंग्वेज की मिस्टेक होती है। जैसे एक होता है ना कि जो आई कांटेक्ट का भी बहुत बड़ा आई थिंक मिसिंग होता है कॉन्वर्सेशंस में, जो मैंने ऑब्जर्व किया है, दैट पीपल डोंट थिंक दैट इट इज़ सो इम्पॉर्टेंट दैट वी नीड टू लुक एट द पर्सन व्हेन वी आर टॉकिंग। जो लोगों को लगता है कि मैं अपना काम भी करता रहूँ, इससे बात भी कर लूँ, दोनों काम हो जाए मेरा, ऐसा लोग सोचते हैं। बट उससे क्या होता है ना कि आपका काम आई डोंट नो होगा या नहीं होगा, बट वो कॉन्वर्सेशन तो सक्सेसफुल नहीं होगा, दैट्स फॉर श्योर। तो मुझे लगता है ये कुछ कॉमन बॉडी लैंग्वेज की मिस्टेक्स हो सकती हैं। और इसको अगर हम ठीक करने की बात करें कि भाई देखो प्रॉब्लम है, बट अनटिल एंड अनलेस वी विल नॉट सॉल्व इट, इट विल रिमेन अ प्रॉब्लम, ठीक है। तो आई थिंक फीडबैक एक ऐसा चीज़ होता है ना जो आई थिंक जो जिस स्पीड से आप इम्प्रूव करते हो ना, फीडबैक उस स्पीड को 2x कर सकता है या 3x कर सकता है। जब तक आप खुद अवेयर होगे, इट विल टेक अ लॉट ऑफ टाइम that you become aware of that thing, but if you take feedback from someone, it will be more quick. You did a conversation, you had a meeting, you asked someone how was it, how did I perform, everything, yeah, you got into any conversation किसी भी classroom में, wherever, if the person is comfortable and if you're going to see that I am open to feedback, can you just give me any constructive feedback so that I can improve, right? I'm working on it, yeah, I'm into that domain, whatever. So take feedback. Another thing, कुछ चीज़ें तो आप खुद भी कर सकते हैं। फॉर एग्जाम्पल अगर आप इंटरव्यू के लिए जो रिहर्स आप घर पे भी कर सकते हैं। सो ऑब्जर्व योर सेल्फ, मिरर के सामने खड़े हुई देखिए कि आप कौन सी ऐसी एक्टिविटी है जो आप लगातार कर रहे हैं, देखेंगे तभी पता चलेगा। और रिकॉर्ड, आपने फ़ोन रखा, यू डिड अ रिकॉर्डिंग, यू सिट इन फ्रंट एंड 2-3 क्वेश्चंस आपने प्रिपेयर किया है एंड यू स्पीक। अब उस फिर कैमरे में आप देखिए कि कहाँ पे आपके आई एक्सप्रेशंस थे, राइट, फ्रंट में थे कि नहीं थे, हैंड का मूवमेंट कैसा हो रहा था। तो ये सब चीज़ें, पोस्चर, कई लोगों को ना जब इनिशियली उन्हें याद आता है कि हम मीटिंग में आए हैं तो वो 5-10 मिनट्स प्रॉपर होते हैं, फिर वो क्या करते हैं ना, ड्यूरिंग द मीटिंग दे फॉरगेट, और वो धीरे वो पोस्चर चेंज होता चले जाता है, राइट। और तो ये ऑब्जर्व अगर हमने अपने आप को रिकॉर्ड किया होगा 10-15 मिनट्स, तो हमें दिखेगा कि क्या हम बिल्कुल प्रॉपर बैठे थे पूरा 15 मिनट, या इनिशियली 5-7 मिनट बैठे, उसके बाद हम भूल गए, हम फ्लो में चले गए। तो ये कुछ चीज़ें हैं जो मिस्टेक्स हैं और जिन्हें हमें इम्प्रूव भी करना चाहिए। और ये एक साथ नहीं इम्प्रूव होगी, आपको लगे कि आज से ना मैं सब चीज़ पे ध्यान दूंगा, आई कांटेक्ट पे भी ध्यान दूंगा, मैं अपना बॉडी लैंग्वेज भी बढ़िया रखूँगा, बैठूंगा भी अच्छे से, नहीं होगा। एक चीज़ फोकस करो कि यार अब से 5-7 डेज में जब भी कॉन्वर्सेशन में किसी के साथ भी एंगेज होऊंगा, आई विल फोकस ऑन आई कॉन्टैक्ट, कि मैं आई कॉन्टैक्ट ज़रूर रखूँगा, मेंटेन करूँगा उस पर्सन से। देन यू पिक समथिंग एल्स, कि अब से मैं पोस्चर पे फोकस करूँगा। ऐसे करके 1 by 1 आफ्टर सम डेज द टाइम विल कम वेयर यू कैन पुट देम ऑल टुगेदर and then apply in a conversation. So this is what my take is on this.
Right. And ma'am, I believe the biggest mistake people make is that they focus on communication skills only when they have a presentation, only when they have an interview the day before. That's the biggest thing, definitely. तो वो पूरे 365 days प्रैक्टिस नहीं करेंगे, वो सिर्फ वो लास्ट 7 days एक वीक के लिए प्रैक्टिस करेंगे।
वो ये भूल जाते हैं कि हम हर सेकंड कॉन्वर्सेशन कर रहे हैं या कम्युनिकेशन कर रहे हैं। मैं आपके साथ बैठी हूँ, लेकिन जब मैं बोल नहीं रही हूँ तभी भी कॉन्वर्सेशन हो रहा है। हाउ आई एम लुकिंग एट यू, राइट, आई एम हैविंग सर्टेन फेशियल एक्सप्रेशन। सो कम्युनिकेशन ऐसा है जो चाहकर ना चाहकर हर सांस के साथ हो रहा है, तो उसके ऊपर अलग से फोकस नहीं करना। इट शुड बी इंटीग्रेटेड इन योर हैबिट। हम सब, फॉर एग्जाम्पल आई गिव यू अ सिंपल एग्जाम्पल, यू गो टू अ वेजिटेबल वेंडर, वहाँ भी कम्युनिकेशन चाहिए भाई। मम्मी ऐसे ही नेगोशिएट कर लेती हैं, आप नहीं कर पाते, व्हाट इज द रीजन? बिकॉज यू आर नॉट गुड एट दैट कम्युनिकेशन। तो उसके लिए कम्युनिकेशन सब जगह है। आप कस्टमर केयर से बात करो, आप किसी चीज़ से बात करो, इफ़ यू आर गुड एट कम्युनिकेशन आप उस डील को क्रैक कर सकते हो। अदरवाइज नहीं कर सकते हो. क्यों? क्योंकि उसके लिए ऐसा नहीं है कि आपको इंटरव्यू के लिए प्रिपरेशन सेपरेट है और कस्टमर जो बंदे हैं उसको कंप्लेन करने के लिए अगर कुछ कंप्लेन करना है तो उसके लिए भी आपको स्किल अलग चाहिए. बेसिक प्रिंसिपल्स हैं जो सब जगह अप्लाई होंगे.
Right, perfect. So, ma'am, I have a story to share, a small story,
Yeah.
which beautifully explains how important is body language. So, I was in my last year of BBA.
Okay.
So, I had done my Bachelor's of Business Administration, and I have participated in this competition, a presentation competition, where we had a group of 4. Okay, and we need to compete with like against such, and like I was in like one group, and 3 of my friends like disappeared like before the
OMG.
presentation, and there were MBA students like in front of me, like who were like competing with me, and I thought कि यार okay चलो दे देते कर लेते अकेले कोई problem नहीं है. What I did was I observed each and every single like student. What they used to do is like वो सारे corner में रह के they used to just read out the presentation.
अच्छा, okay.
That's it.
Okay.
What I did was I just did a like very small thing. I moved like from corner to the center, like in front of the judge, and I just spoke what I believed, and that's it. I like
No
opened my
script,
hands,
nothing.
like I used to, no script, nothing. I opened my hands, I looked around the audience, and I used like few hand gesture, and that's it. And I won the like first like prize against like MBAs, like all alone. That's how body language can like impact your career growth.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Also, ma'am, I believe that there is one question which is very important in your career. Like, you can, like, regardless of your experience, your industry, your skills, there is one question that you will come across every single time, and that is, tell me about yourself. I believe it's the most important thing in the career, and you should know how to convey relevant information about yourself that builds your strong first impression, credibility, and position you as an expert.
Definitely.
I saw your post on LinkedIn in which you mention you are making a mistake if you feel that that just telling your name, education, and place will do an introduction. And I agree with you. A lot of us repeat the same format of name, place, hobby, which we have been hearing from decades. So I want you to give us a framework that student can use to answer, tell me about yourself and sound clear, confident, and credible.
Okay. So see, when you are talking about tell me about yourself, right? So tell me about yourself wherein we majorly focus that okay, what I am, my name, where I have done my schooling, and what has been my education. And what else you can say that okay, if someone goes more further, they can talk about their experiences or their background, their family background. So if the question is saying that tell me about yourself or introduce about yourself, whatever information you have tell, that's already there in the CV. Right? So the person definitely, it doesn't mean that he's asking you because he wants to know all those things. He already knows all those things. So if he has asked you, so he wants to first what he wants to judge, what information do you pick? So there are a lot of information in CV, everything that is there. So what you will pick? So in that, I would say it depends where you are going, right? So somewhere if you are a fresher, so there definitely your name, right, and where you have done your this education, that matters. That's one. And then if you are going for an experienced kind of thing, then tell about your experience as well, right? Then what's plus that what? Now at least he wants to know something of you as a person. This information is okay, but go beyond that, right? You can talk about this, that okay, how you are actively or you are determined about this opportunity. Tell them how passionate you are about it. Maybe you can link it, your passion or your interest, with the company's vision, right? That how you relate how you relate with them. Show that belongingness, that see, I have these interests and I truly align myself with the company's vision, and that makes me, or that pushed me to come here and to apply for this, right? That's one thing. Another thing that they are looking for, if they are asking you about yourself, that as a person, what's your attitude, and what's your characteristics, right? So do mention about your strengths there, right? Your weaknesses, right? All of these, what kind of person you are, tell them. They're looking for it. You'll talk about your leadership, maybe about your positive attitude, maybe you have been a good leader, maybe you have worked well in teams, you have led teams in schools, colleges, and everything. Share that personal kind of, any kind of story or any kind of experiences which speaks of what kind of person you are, not in technical but on a human ground or on a personal ground. So that's why whenever they talk about tell me about yourself, definitely you can tell about your name, you can tell about your academics, you can tell about your experiences if there are any. Then rest, you talk about your personal things. Don't talk about family background and everything. That's there in the CV. If they want to, they'll ask it. But in your introduction, 20, 30, 35%, 40% is that technical, and the remaining 60% should be about you, how you are relating with the company, how passionate you are, what interests you about this opportunity, right? Or anything that brings something uniqueness about that opportunity or the skill, or in that, one another great thing, if you are a good researched person, whatever is the job opportunity, if that opportunity needs or demands any personal skill that is needed. For example, if they are hiring you for a leadership position, tell them about a story, tell them such a story. If they are hiring you for someone that is very creative role, right, that is where you need to create new things or be creative, tell them a story where you shows how creative you are. So if you show them, they think that yeah, the person is well prepared. Definitely, this impression they will know, and accordingly they will put the questions for you. And mark my words, you have already taken points in positive from them. You're already ahead, and out of the people who have, because there are very few people who focus lot on introduction. In journal, everyone prepares that basic introduction, but if you make the difference there, you are already ahead of the people. You are already in the top 10%, I would say, because remaining 90% don't give a lot of attention on this tell me about yourself, because they are doing nothing. They are just repeating the CV content in their introduction. So for me, this should be the basic framework or the things that needs to be covered in the introduction.
Okay. And ma'am, I believe that your answer, like tell me about your answer, like this one, that answer should, that can't be same. You can't use the same template every single time.
Yes,
Like
yes,
it should
yes.
personalize.
Yeah,
There should be a
personalized
personalization.
or and another, I would say, same goes for CV as well. In CV there is something called career objective, right? Or there is something called
Yes.
of that sort of some other name, some any other keyword you put it. Majorly people send the same CV,
Same.
be any domain job, be it any company's job, or be it any other thing. You need to tailor made it according to where you are applying. Same goes with your introduction as well. That's why I said that make up a story about that skill. So that skill can't be same in all the jobs. They will be different, right? For example, if you are going for an internship kind of an interview, there it requires passion and determination, right? You should always have a zeal, because money is not the motivator there in internships, right? So definitely something else needs to be motivator. So if something else needs to be motivator, you need to show them that see, it's not just something because it is required or it needs to be fulfilled because I'll get a certification, but it is something that I really want to do. And why? Show them. If you have that skill, show them where you have shown it. where you have proven that yes, you are creative, or yes, you are a good determined person, you have already performed great in school projects, despite shortage of resources, despite encouragement from your friends whatsoever, but you have determined to perform great on it. So that can only happen if you truly give that importance to introduction. Then only you can talk about these things and prepare these things.
Right. So finally, ma'am, if someone wants to improve their communication skills today, what's the first step they should take?
Okay. So you're saying that, okay,
Just one.
okay, finally, if I want to improve my communication from today onwards, right? So what should I do? First of all, I should say that make sure, or first accept it, that communication is not something which is going to apply to certain setups and it will not apply to certain setups. First accept it that it applies to every setup, whether you are having conversation with your father, whether you are having conversation with your friend, whether you are having a conversation with any grocery shop person, or whether you are having a conversation with a boss, with a leader, or with whatsoever. So communication is every second. Whatever post you are writing on LinkedIn, that's a communication. It speaks about you. Whatever comment you are making on a Facebook post, that tells about you. So be mindful of any kind of email, comment, even what photo you like on Facebook, that also tells about you. What emoji you select, that also tells about you, right? So then that's one thing. Second is read more. You need to read more, because though communication and soft skills are very important, but if you don't have knowledge, I just have great expressions but I don't have words to speak, so then my just expressions is not going to take me in, right? So you need to read more, you need to read more books, you need to read newspapers, you need to be aware about the world, because it will help you in two ways. One, it will add vocabulary for you, it will bring new words to you, new keywords to you. And second, you will have content about everything. If I'm reading newspapers, if I'm reading books, wherever I am, whether I'm in a meeting, whether I'm in any interview, or wherever, I will have content, be it economic, be it finance, be it geography, be it history, because I've read everything. Right? So this will help you, where it will help you. So for example, in some unexpected questions that come in any kind of interview, or any current affair questions come in any interview, or you are sitting in a corporate meeting and just the leader, the person who is leader, he just throws, what's your opinion on the ongoing issue? If you have that opinion, so you look like a learned person, you look like an aware person, aware citizen, that yeah, he knows what's happening in the country. Otherwise the person will say, you only know about the company, you don't know what's going on around in the country. The country belongs to us, so it tells you about that. So reading will help you two ways, right? Another thing you can see that breathing exercises also you can start doing. If you want to go for public speaking, you want to be a good motivator, you want to be a good public speaker of that type, so or going for any interview. Even I tell students, if you are going for writing an exam, I tell them that before the question mark and the answer sheet comes to you, close your eyes and take 4-5 deeper breaths. Don't look at the question paper. The heart pounding reduces, right? Same goes with public speaking, and I personally use it. Because Chinmay, it's just the beginning 60 seconds. I say you handle it in the beginning 60 seconds, you will handle it for minutes and hours. It's only those beginning 60 seconds. So if you can go for breathing exercises, it will reduce your pulse rate, right? Because nervousness is directly linked to pulse rate. If that slows down, the nervousness will also come down, and you can then just 5-10 seconds, 15 seconds, 20 seconds down the line, you are good to go with it, right? Then secondly, I would say focus on listening. I think that is going to be a rare quality in coming of years ahead, because it is becoming rarest of rarest. No one is ready to listen. Everyone wants to tell their part, everyone wants to tell their story, right? and there is no one who will patiently listen and think, and that's why a lot of violence that is happening on, we see a lot of news and everything that is happening, that for petty issues people are just killing someone. What's because tolerance and listening has finished off, right? So see, that's why I always say that why we have 2 ears and one mouth, because you need to do twice listening and once speaking, right? So that's why focus on listening. What? Because then only you can communicate well, because when you will listen, then only you know what to say and what the other person is expecting, because context, content, clarity, everything is important, right? If that is not there, then definitely things are not going to be great. And secondly, last thing I can say that what I can say, make certain habits, because communication cannot happen in a day and cannot happen voluntarily. You need to make it a habit that wherever I'm going, okay, I'm going to classrooms every day as a student, I'll make a habit that once in my lecture I'll ask a query, once in a classroom. Or if you are someone who is working, you're a working professional, make it a habit that whenever it is going to be a meeting, corporate meeting, or it is going to be a friends conversation, I will speak once. Because if you are someone person who always hesitates, how should I ask a query, because that comes right from the beginning. I think you have not asked any of the queries in the school times, that's why you are not getting the courage today itself. So make it a habit that if a meeting is going on, that's my habit, I will definitely raise my hand and ask a query. Whatever is the response, I don't care, but I'll do it. So make one habit and apply it, and initially you will start becoming comfortable with it, and then asking queries, answering questions, facing a stranger, facing an unexpected question will not be a big deal for you. It is going to be a normal thing for you, and you will be able to deal it with confidence and clarity, I would say. So this is I would say that if you want to improve communication, though the list is very long, right? There are even today I also focus and I also read and upgrade myself, do some courses and see that okay, what more I can do to be more best, what I can do, because best and perfect is definitely a journey, it's not a destination. And I always strive that okay, every day I should try to learn, every day I should focus that okay, where I am lacking, where I need to. Even in classrooms I sometimes ask students, give feedback, any improvements that I can make. So then I get the feedbacks, and initially when the feedbacks come, it is not difficult to accept. But if you are a person who knows if you want to move forward in life, you need to take feedbacks for positive. And this is what I have to share in this respect.
Wow, like that was a complete, masterclass on communication skills. It was an incredibly valuable session, ma'am. And as you mentioned about that, building a habit of speaking, it is like extremely important. Like when it comes to skill development, so for example, if I want to learn how to do a push up, like reading 100 books on push up or watching 100 tutorials will not help me, right? I will only learn to do a perfect push-up when
Yeah.
I do that first repetition. And
Yeah.
similarly, when it comes to communication skills, you can read like 1,000 books on communication, but none of that will add value if like unless you open your mouth. So speaking
Oh,
is really
definitely.
important, right?
Speaking is really important. Otherwise, things look very easy. When we look at motivators, we see what he's not telling anything rocket science. We can easily. How I learned it, whenever my mother used to make chapatis. So initially, I was in my academic career and I didn't get engaged in household work. So I used to always see how easy she's making round chapatis. That's there's nothing very thing unique in it. And when I started making that on my own, I just observed that no, it's not like that. But what I was seeing is not practice is something which can make the chapati round, and not just observing will make it correct. So definitely you have to take a step and you have to start doing it, then only it can be done someday.
Right. Exactly. So we covered a lot, and personally, I learned a lot today. And I believe if someone applies 20% of what we taught, he will come across
Yeah.
a confident and best version of himself. So thank you, ma'am, for spending your precious time with all of us and giving us the right perspective and framework. So pleasure having you today. And
And same here, same here. I also learned two stories, one of yours and another is of one of the billionaires. So
yes,
that's new learning for me. And definitely, every conversation with we do, we become more comfortable for more greater communications ahead. So thanks to you as well that I became a part of your community as well. That's my pleasure. And you are doing a great work. So all the very best from my side to you. And we hope we meet someday because the earth is
yes,
round and we will meet someday and
yes,
discuss some more communication styles and tools.
100%, 100%, ma'am.
Okay, okay. Same here. Bye bye. Bye bye. Take care.